There are 4 teams left: New England, Kansas City, Rams, Saints. If you are an NFL player, and unless you're in these games, the other 28 teams, there is one team you have to root for. You have to root for the Rams if you're a player. New England has been bad for players. New England rolls their eyes at stars. New England doesn't pay anybody. Even Tom Brady is not a top 8 to 10 paid quarterback. New England is winning with depth, underpaying virtually everybody. They're winning with a system. That's not good for players. For years and years, journalists didn't make anything. You had the CBS News division. CNN covers the world. And then Rupert Murdoch created Fox about outspoken individual political commentators. And they beat CNN. And now people like Rachel Maddow can make over $10 million a year. You should send Rupert Murdoch a thank you. He changed the paradigm. It was no longer about having the beefiest news division. It was about having people with strong opinions, left or right, that people became huge fans of, and it made a lot of people rich. But the Rams are different. Something happened last year in the NFL. Philadelphia decided, we're going to go big on free agency. And they beat the system, New England. And what happened? Jay Glazer discusses what happened after Philly won, splurging big in free agency.
Last couple of years, free agency's been a bad game of fantasy football. Guys whose names are big, who are getting overpaid, and you just don't win that way. You don't build. And a lot of teams realize that. They're like, we're not doing this. We're not going and throwing a boatload of money at Dominican Sues and all those guys. It's not a huge type of market because it just doesn't work that way. It's you got to build through the draft, and you got to smartly go get an Andrew Whitworth. But then all of a sudden, the Philadelphia Eagles happened last year. And the Eagles went out, and they got guys like Alshon Jeffrey and the Chris Longs, and then they traded for Jay Ajayi. They almost played this game that has become taboo in free agency. And all of a sudden, Philly had success with it, and that's why I think you see all these teams this year, they have changed their ways. They're like, oh, because it's a what have you done for me lately league.
Absolutely. So Philadelphia last year went big into free agency and beat the system. The Rams this year went big into free agency. And in this copycat league, if they beat New Orleans, get to the Super Bowl, and win it, great for players. Amari Cooper going to Dallas, winning the division, great for stars. Khalil Mack going to Chicago, winning a division, great for star defensive players. This is a copycat league. If you're a player, you are rooting for the Rams. You want to not only sign with a team for 4 years, but then if you outperform your team, go on the free agent market, and the best teams come after you. That's leverage. That drives your price up. The NBA's always been about free agency. I've been following the NBA for 40 years. It's always about collecting stars. The NFL, New England's been the opposite of that. New England has said, stars, the silly teams, the teams that aren't prudent, aren't responsible. Miami, Buffalo, Houston, the silly teams go after free agency. Rams win this weekend off the Eagles championship last year. March and April NFL free agency will be absolutely huge. You should root for your own economy. That's not saying as a player in any sport you don't want to win championships. You have families, you have legacies, you got bank accounts. Teams will move off you. Be ready to move off them. Players this weekend, root for the Rams.